Hi there, welcome back to the Christine Parker missing person case. Today we're continuing on with the discussions and I'll be sharing with you the latest updates on the case and newest sightings of Christine in different areas. I can incorporate the map analysis today and add on from where we left off from to see if we notice any patterns, trends, distance, locations from one another, okay? And if you stick around long enough, I'm sure you will notice one very interesting pattern when it comes to reported sightings over the course of days, weeks, okay? We can also refer back to the official Facebook page of Find Christine Parker, read the extra details there and comments and just see what's going on. Okay, we can definitely do that, and that's what we'll start off with first. I don't need to look back at comments because there wasn't too many to look through anyway. But for the people that are present right now, welcome to the live premiere. Feel free to share your thoughts, opinions and reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. If you do want to catch up on any of my previous videos, feel free to check my channel out. It should all be there and easy to find. As for the Christine Parker case videos, I'll provide a link or two down below in the pinned comment section, along with some other links if you wish to visit them, okay? Before we go any further, shout out to Badger Life, of course, and Betty Hayward for last night. Their super chat's very good of them. And of course, most definitely this morning, shout out to Cleo too, very good of her. I was like, wow, very good, okay? So with that all being said, let's get onto the Facebook page and check the latest sightings of Christine Passey Parker. Here we are. As you can see, it says bring Chris Passey Parker home. Chris, short for Christine, in case you were wondering. You can check this page out yourself if you go on Facebook. I don't know if you have to sign in or not. Look at the Dylan Rounds case, for example. Find Dylan Rounds. You didn't need an account for that, so maybe it's okay here too. But, you know, it says a place to gather information about the whereabouts of Christine Parker and call police or DM here if you got details or information. So it's a way to be informed about the case, the latest updates, and also a place to gather if you wish to share your thoughts, opinions, but also if you have critical, important information, so you know who to reach out to, okay? So scroll down here. It should be in the correct order. 22 hours ago and 1 day ago. We'll start off with a roundabout down here, okay? Just so we're following in the correct order. So yeah, 3 days ago when it was posted, I think I might have covered it before that because it was talked about earlier. I mean, it might have been mentioned by Leanne, which we did cover recently. Rafael Rivera Park area, Las Vegas. We just had a brief look. Okay, street view. It says here, no dogs were seen with her. So that's kind of interesting that, right? Where are the dogs at? This was a possible sighting, so it's not 100% confirmed. You could put the argument across and say maybe it wasn't her. It was just an individual that looked like her. And because no dogs were present, then maybe it wasn't Christine. Just like, you know, these little thoughts you take into mind, right? But regarding this place, Rafael Rivera Park, just keep a mental note of it because there is an interesting pattern later on you'll see with the maps. Feel free to stick around. 2 days ago, friends and family, thank you for sharing, posting some more to bring awareness of the case to help keep all information coming in to one spot. Let's all please hashtag bring Chris Passey Parker home. By doing this, we can get the leads out to people behind the scenes helping to find Chris. So that's good, being able to distribute and pass on the information in an orderly structure. To know that there are people in the background working on the case is obviously reassuring, right? Because with the Dylan Rounds case, like now, it's that uncertainty of what's going on. But here, it seems to be somewhat under control. Thank you, and we so appreciate all the shares. We just want to, we don't want to miss a lead or clue. I know with the village of people looking, we will find Chris. And, there's a fair few people present on the group. We got the post there, as we've seen several times. There we go, 1 day ago. So here we go. So the post is, we need your help again. There was a possible sighting of Chris near La Grande, Oregon. If you know people in the surrounding area, please ask them to share. If anyone in the area is willing to put up flyers at truck stops and other locations of a family, we'd appreciate it. Okay, so that's one of the key locations we'll be taking a look at today. Is there any comments? Let's just see. Took some flyers to Flying J's as well as Walmart in La Grande. Well, that's good then. We put flyers up in the boys' Meridian to Mountain Home. Some places will not allow you due to corporate policy. We got them in gas stations, post offices, businesses, up to McCall, Twin Falls, La Grande, Portland, and rest stops. We won't stop. So this is just like an example, demonstration of people being proactive and, being able to spread the awareness in different ways. To get from Nevada to Oregon, she would have had to be hitchhiking, I think. It's going to be necessary to have a missing person flyer at every gas station and rest stop. I sure hope she's safe and unharmed. My question would be, and I can agree with what was mentioned here in the first place about hitchhiking, if her actual vehicle got stuck, unable to use it anymore, then to end up in a different city or a different state, whatever you call it, right? It's going to take some time to get from point A to point B. You need a vehicle, some form of transportation. So hitchhiking seems pretty likely. My question still is, at what point were the dogs, present and then no longer present? Because I'm sure when you're hitchhiking, you might get some people that say, oh, I'm allergic to dogs, I'm allergic to animals, I don't want them in the truck, I don't want them in my car. But you can catch a ride if you want, but you got to leave your dogs behind. I mean, would that ever be a scenario possible in this case or not? Just a thought. I know some people have said, talking about dog kennels, looking at them. I mean, if you do have loose dogs, someone may report them missing, strange dogs. They get taken in somewhere, looked after, possibly. It's just trying to reach out, right? I mean, there was a question where they said, are the dogs microchipped or anything like that? So there is anyone watching right now, any key people or family members, Christine's Border Collies, do they have a microchip? Do they have a dog tag or a dog collar, something where it's got maybe a phone number on or a form of contact to family in general? Is that the case here or not? Feel free to explain down below. Shelter from the storm. This is La Grande, Oregon Women's Shelter. It's the only one I know in the area. Maybe contact them for any leads. And there is the form of communication, phone number, email address, and I guess the website link, URL link. So if you wish to contact any of them for the right reasons regarding Christine Passey Parker, linking on from the sighting, the possible one in La Grande, Oregon, there is a woman's shelter, a shelter for women. Okay. Is that like a hostel, similar or different? But, regardless, no harm, right? Who knows what information might come out. Driving through La Grande in a few minutes. I don't have a way to print flyers, but we'll show the post around at the truck stops. We stopped at a rest area between Boys and Baker. Okay. Showed it to a bunch of people. Took a screenshot of the poster, including the man working at the rest area. Please contact animal control in the areas you are looking in case she was separated from her dogs. Could have been the case if she was hitchhiking, yeah. Prayers. Does anyone know if the dogs are chipped? If they're picked up in any state, they will notify the owners. Could narrow it down. What's here? Karen Matthews. They are not chipped. Is that a fact? but they're not chipped. Besides not being chipped, then, if anyone can 100% confirm it in the chat or comment section right now, what about a dog collar? You know, dogs have dog collars which might have a little badge on, and it might say, call this number if lost. I don't know. Maybe it's different from country to country. Has anyone been able to get a picture? Not so far. So the official page responding back to that one. No photos yet. My question is, why has no one been able to take a photo? Is it because all the people that reported it in weren't expecting or thinking at the time to come across a potential missing person? But then how were they informed or influenced by the fact that, oh, I just saw someone that looks like a missing person, so then I'll contact people afterwards? Maybe someone will eventually take a photo, right? Even that in itself, besides spreading awareness on Christine Parker, missing individual, no harm in spreading awareness of, if you see a person that looks like her or you feel confident that it is her when you're out and about, try and get a photo. Yeah, even that can help in itself, right? This is my friend's mum, so if you see her, let me know. Okay. So you can see, in a sense, whether it be a small or large community, there seems to be quite a few different people, you know, maybe in the area or a bit further out, that do know about Christine Parker in some way. Friends, close, or acquaintances, whatever you call it, right? And then even people on YouTube, those come from the Dylan Rounds case, know her as well. So it's interesting how there's all these links. I guess there are positives behind all those links. If people know one another, already get on well with one another, then communication will be a lot more smoother and under control. Does anyone know how legitimate this sighting was regarding Oregon, trying to get a group together to head and look and hand posters in Vegas? Okay, so good question. So official response, no one has been able to get a picture, so it's hard to say. There has been another potential sighting in Las Vegas, so flyers there would be much appreciated. Yeah, and regarding that other sighting in Las Vegas, we'll be getting to that very shortly, so make sure to stick around for that. Can't imagine all the constant questioning. I'm on it, getting a pretty good bunch to go out, group, walk grounds, hand out what we can. Appreciate that, okay. Continue to pray. Could you share with people you know in the Oregon and Washington area, please? Can someone who has more information on the dogs post them on Paw Boost in the areas you are looking? Paw Boost, lost and found pets, find and report lost pets nationwide. Well, there's the link there to the website. If there's anyone interested in that regarding this case, feel free to check it out again. Right, is that it here? Seems to be. So click the back button there. So don't worry, I do have it marked out on the maps regarding these locations. So we will look at it visually shortly. What do we have down here? Okay, so there is actually a photo. Right, library near 28th Street and Bonanza. Do you know what? I think I might have seen that on the maps. Let's just read it anyway beforehand. Zoom on out, there we go. 22 hours ago, the latest post and update on the Christine Parker case, saying we had another report of Christine being in Vegas at the Salvation Army and Library off of 28th Street and Bonanza. We are learning that the homeless are very protective of each other, which is good and bad. Those in the Vegas area, please keep an eye out, especially as they line up at these centers to get their meals. Here are possible locations she might visit since they're in the northern part of Vegas. Okay. So it appears to be a photo there. Public library. And then there's like reviews as well with the opening times. Well, we'll have a look at that on the maps probably in a second. We'll just see what the comments are, if anyone said anything else. Shared. Left flyers at the library on the 28th. A lot of people cooling off, so a good place to keep checking. Went back to Raphael Park and Community Centre, left a flyer in centre and talked to a woman at the park who said her friend tried to help Christine. Oh, wow. These places follow a route to all the other food cooling centres off of Bonanza, Maine, where we're heading now. Interesting comments here. Okay. My sister was down there on Monday visiting the shelters. She said if you want help, she would be willing. Okay. Do you know which Salvation Army? There are 3 in Las Vegas. We'll be in Vegas today. Good question, that, because I noticed there was a couple. I forgot to add that. I'm her aunt. Right, what does it say? But we are not sure. This one is the northern part of Vegas. 35 West Owens Avenue, North Las Vegas. We'll try and find that on the maps. This is possibly the library she was near. Yeah, that photo, what we looked at before. They do not serve, they provide a lot of services. I thought they served the homeless lunch. Sorry, I misunderstood. Right. I know the area about Salvation Army well. Those who help the homeless will help her get aid if she's saying she left some place she did not want to be. Okay. That's not the case. Not sure what's not the case unless a lot has changed, especially that Salvation Army. You can even get ID. If you're saying she's not avoiding family, then not sure what to say. They do not have lots of shelter beds, etc., but they do have good outreach programs. She has a traumatic brain injury and has been without her medication for over 20 days. She most likely doesn't know where she is and needs medical attention. She loves her family. I'm also very familiar with the Salvation Army. My aunt was a captain and I volunteered for them throughout high school. Okay. These are very dangerous areas and regular citizens should not be going into those areas alone. Please ensure you are contacting all shelters such as the Salvation Army, Rescue Mission, Shade Tree and Catholic Charities. Reach out to help with the Southern Nevada might be helpful as they work with a trained outreach team that includes members from the LVMPD. Okay. My sister said she was told anyone searching in Salvation Army area, 4-block area, the police told her it is not safe. Do not go down any alleyways. Sounds a bit dodgy. Good to know. We certainly don't want anyone getting hurt. Just make sure you are with someone. It is very hot right now. Make sure you are carrying water. Yes, they just had a man in custody who tried to kill 2 others. That's why I said go with someone during daytime. My sister was by herself. The police told her that they may not be able to get to her in time if she needed them. Wow. That sounds pretty rough, that. Do not go in the area unless you're extremely street smart or police escorted. Not just having someone with you, need someone who can legally carry within Vegas. Do not be there or have a vehicle parked in the area. When the sun starts to go down, do not go pressuring the homeless for info and what you're doing, like passing out flyers that will not be received well. And with human trafficking, you will put Christine in danger. I cannot stress this enough. So it looks like there could be more obstacles than expected, right? Usually they only respond to stand by for coroner to pick up bodies. So when they say they do not respond, they do not. And if it's too dangerous for them at that moment, you are on your own. Again, if she's gotten to a social worker, which Salvation Army will do, she might be trying to legally get out from under whatever your family thinks they have over her, as she is a grown adult. Right. Few vocal people here. Anything else? Spread the word. I play volleyball at JD Smith Middle School every Monday night. I drive past some of that area on my way home. I see lots of homeless. Okay. City of Las Vegas runs a very nice shelter too. It's across the street from Catholic Charities. I'm not far. I'm on my way as soon as Thursday. Encouraging news despite the worry. Keep her safe. Okay. I live here in Vegas and would be more than happy to look around, but there is a bunch of Salvation Army locations. Any idea? Okay. Is that pretty much it? Looks like it. Keep our eyes out. Do you know which Salvation? Will you keep an eye out? There's a lot of comments, which is positive. I think it's people tagging one another as well, letting each other know. I'm confused. Why is the Montpelier Sheriff's Office not working with Las Vegas Metro to find her rather than asking Las Vegas citizens to possibly put themselves in harm's way to locate her? The police legally can only do a welfare check and ask her if she wants to call the person who reported her missing. Also, without a picture or a really good lead, where do you send them? People say they've seen her around a certain area, but the police can't do a welfare check if they don't know where to go. I know the laws are in place to protect victims, but in this case, the laws are making this very difficult. Off her medication, I don't know if she would choose to call even if they found her. Sometimes she gets paranoid and doesn't make rational decisions. See, this is yet another obstacle. You're not just simply dealing with a missing person, right? Just simply missing person, but an individual that will have their decisions, their thought process altered with not being in the presence of the medication. So it might make it harder to communicate with her, for her to cooperate, whether that be the police, family, or locals within the area that may try and offer to help her, but she gets a bit paranoid or doesn't trust them. And I don't know, like the tiniest of factors or changes could set her off to going elsewhere and just constantly moving around and around. Do you think she would be, managing to get food and some form of shelter? Okay, there might be services out there which can help in some way, but is she going to be focused on, right, I need to go here to get that and to get this? I wonder. I walked around the library on the 28th in Raphael Park this afternoon. The library has her flyer posted. Okay, that's good, within the area. Now, how would Christine react herself if she saw a missing poster flyer of her? Would she freak out? Would it make her realise what's going on? Would it have a positive or negative effect? I wonder. I know the whole point of posters are to spread awareness so that locals in the area know what's going on. So if they do see something, then they can report it in. But what about if the missing person sees the posters themselves? How do they react? Anyone posting on TikTok, I feel like missing people get a lot of traction on there and people trying to help. The thing is with TikTok, it's very hit and miss and very selective, okay? You can't just post on TikTok and then expect to get lots of people watching the video. Even if you're doing an educational one, a serious topic, true crime, missing person case, spreading awareness, you can post it. How many people are going to bother watching? The problem is when it comes to TikTok, there'll be a high proportion of users on TikTok who are pure degenerates, who lack reasoning ability, a very low retention and attention span, who will only watch a video for about 5 seconds and then turns off. That's who you're dealing with on TikTok. So it's not the best place, to be honest. And as I said, it's very hit and miss. TikTok actually tried silencing me when I was simply uploading gameplay from a video game, kicking a football around. The video was taken down for violating guidelines. It was reinstated and approved, and the video and the appeal was successful in the end. But TikTok at times is a terrible place, and quite a few people on TikTok are terrible people and just, I don't know, it's just messy. Every now and then post a video just for a bit of fun or just randomness. That's about it. I focus more on YouTube, especially when it comes to the more serious videos, because people are more likely to stick around and listen in and understand, right? Anyway, what's this one? After my last post, went to the Mission, Salvation Army, Shade Tree, and the Courtyard. All of these places have her flyers and info in their systems. In talking to other people on streets, they also recommended checking out Lorenzi Park, Tonopah Park, and the area around Salvation Army. We checked those places out, but the issue is we are talking about hundreds and hundreds of people. You talk about hundreds and hundreds of people within the park area. Is that what you mean? Vegas folks, I'm going out again tomorrow morning. So if you want to coordinate, please message me. Okay. But in looking as above, we never want anyone to put themselves in danger or circumstances that would be dangerous. We understand the areas Christine might be in are super scary, so please be careful. Okay, so with that all being said, let's head on over to the maps right now and visually analyse the locations of these sightings. Here we are with the map. So the first new sighting location we'll look at is further up this way, which is facing north. So it's actually north of, well, the state Oregon, as well as the actual, was it a town, La Grande? It's north of where she went missing, okay, roughly speaking. In terms of the distance, I guess we can do that right away. Take in mind, this is just very, very rough. Add marker. It's at least 300 plus miles and maybe more, depending what route you take, right? It is in a completely different direction she ended up at, which was where her vehicle was found at Eugene Mountain, Nevada. So as for going on the highway, she'd have to cross over to the other side somehow to be able to go back up this way. Take in mind that there are certain routes and directions that are like, there's only one way to get from one place to another, such as like the Las Vegas route, as some people mentioned in the comments recently. You take that into mind. But, you know, in terms of all this distance and these locations, it's like all over the place, right? But as said, there's chances that it will feel all over the place because some of the sightings may not be 100% confirmed or, you know, with high confidence or certainty. It's just people that have supposedly seen someone that may look like Christine, right? So when photos are taken, that will strengthen things, right? But I guess if people do take photos and then share them with the family or, you know, anyone else, police, it's probably got to be done as soon as possible because Christine, seen in a certain area, may not stick around long enough. I don't know. Guess it depends the mood she's in at the time. So we're looking at the state Oregon and we'll flip the image slightly. So down here, just to re-jog people's memory, on the right hand side, we got Battle Mountain, where she originally was. And then on the left, near to the highway, where the mountain is, August 15th, car found by a hunter. So, and she was no longer there. We've looked at other sightings, such as down here, South Lake Tahoe, and as well Las Vegas, which we'll return to because of that other sighting. But one of them, one of the recent ones, newer ones, La Grande sighting, that's interesting. Nearby, which is that the Idaho? Yeah, the state of Idaho. Not far from La Grande, you got Boise, or Boise, however you say it. You also got Burley, Idaho, which is familiar with the Dylan Rounds case. So they are kind of close to one another. You can see a highway down here in yellow. I think it's called, what, 84 Highway, is that just what it's called? Looks like it. You do have some mountains, once again, within the area, roughly speaking. As for the distance between here and Boise, just wait for that white marker to disappear so I can click. There we go. Just a very rough one. across the border going into Idaho. It's about 160, 170 miles, roughly speaking, from there. I mentioned Boise because it was mentioned on the Facebook page where people were going about handing in flyers and leaflets, posters, including the Meridian area that was mentioned on Facebook. That's just spreading awareness across the vast area. You know, this is the other thing. If she keeps moving about, it's probably also helpful, you know, spreading the posters out in all the different towns or cities or states, because she might just well end up at the next place which has already got posters, so people are more alerted of the area and who could be present, okay? So La Grande seems to be surrounded by a lot of greenery, at least on this imagery, and mountainous area. It's also near to a lot of farmland. That is a lot of pivots, those circular ones. Wow. Definitely a busy area. You got La Grande Airport too. Why would she be down here? To be honest, you could ask that question wherever and whenever she shows up in a different area. Why is she there? Why is she there? Likely, her herself, she doesn't know why she's there either. But, you know, with the brain injury from the past and the lack of medication, you know, it does make sense, right? Well, hopefully people understand. So La Grande, somewhere in La Grande. Exactly where? Was it at a shop, near to a restaurant, a bar, a park? I wonder. Was she just casually walking about? See, this is the thing. Whilst we're talking about hitchhiking, originally back near to Eugene Mountain, Nevada, where her vehicle was found, and she catched a ride from there on to wherever. Well, wherever she ends up next, she's likely to hitchhike again and again and again if there's all these different sightings, right? Like, if it was such a thing where there was genuine sightings, let's just say if that was the case, genuine sightings, one day she's in that state, a few days later she's in another. How long will she be moving around for, right? If it was just a case of they ended up moving away, going somewhere, different direction, confused, ended up in a different state and remained there up until found, then it'd be easier to handle in a way. Well, this is what the area looks like, surrounded by mountains. We don't need to spend too long here. I'll just do a street level, maybe focus more on the highway if possible. There you go. So if she was in an area like this in Oregon, would she be on the side of the road, hitchhiking? I wonder. The community itself doesn't look too dodgy. It looks relatively okay. You can see in the distance the mountains and the hills. I guess the key question, besides just the general public taking photos of supposed sightings of Christine, what about actual CCTV footage? That would be helpful. Got a Coca-Cola truck there. I think most of the houses and buildings are over that way, off the highway. Yeah, okay. So I think that'll do for there. We don't need to spend too long. H4 highway, supposed sighting, La Grande. Now, just make sure we're facing north. Zoom on out. So yeah, kind of far away from the, where her truck was found down here. Coordinates are on screen if it does show up clearly. You can pause or rewind the video back if need be. Car found down here, somewhere. Not too far from Mill City. Here, which is also next to the, Dwight D. Eisenhower Highway? Yeah, Dwight D. Eisenhower Highway in which if you followed it up that way going, is that north? Well, it's like slightly northeast. You would end up eventually at Battle Mountain. And if you followed the highway down that way, depending which way you turn off, you would end up over there eventually at South Lake Tahoe. Okay. No follow-up within this area since. Okay. As I said, getting to certain locations such as Las Vegas, you got to go a certain way, right? Just take that into mind. As for Oregon, like what we were referring to, she ended up getting a ride round here or near to a truck stop. You'd have to go back the way she came up to an extent to be able to go in that direction north towards Oregon, right? But for someone like her to go back on herself in terms of directions, it's understandable, because if she is confused and she doesn't know why she's here or why she's there, then actual patterns of where she actually ends up could be fragmented and all over the place, just like her thought process at a certain time. So it is understandable. But let's just focus on the key area down here, Las Vegas, right? We have covered this area before, as said. I'm using orange markers more for the uncertainty factor, right? Last time we looked at Rafael Rivera Park, as you can see down here. Hopefully it loads in visually. We looked at the neighborhood, the community, just very brief. Was she walking down one of the sidewalks? Was she by the road? Visiting a building or something? I don't know, but it was like roughly within this area where there was a sighting of Christine. I don't know how long ago it was now, maybe a week or two, right? And ever since, there's been a second sighting, as what we saw on the Facebook page, round about 28th Street Bonanza, near to the library, as you can see with that marker up there. As well, roughly speaking, another sighting, whether it be on the same day or slightly afterwards or before, somewhere at one of the Salvation Army's places. I put the marker over here, not that this was the exact location, but just roughly in the area as to where these Salvation Army places are located in blue, okay? Looks like a little castle. I didn't know what type of marker to use. I just wanted to use something that would stand out. So when you type in Salvation Army, these are the locations that show up. Someone said there was about 3 of them. And it appears to, well, no, there was actually 4. There was actually 4 Salvation Army places, right? Does it show the name? I mean, where that's located, that looks like it's at a house. That's a bit weird. I mean, I can type it in if that's possible, just to reconfirm. Las Vegas Salvation Army. Salvation Army, West Owens Avenue. Wasn't that the one that was mentioned on Facebook? Ah, there we go. And there's like a photo of it, and then some people inside. We won't look at the photos because I don't know what will pop up, but I think that was one of the key locations mentioned on Facebook. We can roughly take a look at the other places too. Just make sure we're facing north first of all, okay? Now, you could argue, if you're including the Salvation Army as one sighting, and then the other one being a second sighting at that library, and then the previous sighting, Rafael Rivera Park, you could definitely make the argument and say there's been more consistent sightings of Christine being in Las Vegas compared to anywhere else. Because the other locations like Lake Tahoe or Oregon La Grande, they're, miles apart from one another. and it's only been like one sighting here and there, whereas Las Vegas, you've got 3 different sightings, or at least 2 different sightings over the course of time, not all within the same day, maybe between a week and the next. So what, is she staying in the area? Is she living there somehow? Well, at least from what we said last time, the bank account, the transactions, no activity there whatsoever. So she is going to be living in the area, trying to survive or get food or something, probably Salvation Army, visiting those, maybe, I don't know, integrating within the homeless community as it was described by people on Facebook. I mean, I do understand, because when it came to the Kenny Veach case, that missing male in 2014, Scott Natal, a hiker within the area at the time looking for Kenny Veach and the M Cave, did actually go about the homeless communities within Las Vegas and asked people questions. Do you know who Kenny Veach is? Now, no one knew who he was. It didn't lead to much success. But Scott Natal was able to do it without getting hurt, injured, or anything like that. Maybe he got lucky on the day. But, after reading those comments, at least on Facebook page, about certain areas being pretty dangerous, how, you could be trying to do good and look for somebody, and then you end up getting your own self into trouble, into a sticky situation. I guess that awareness, that alert level needs to be present, right? Anyway, I'd say this is the most interesting, the fact that you got Rafael Rivera Park sighting, and then just a bit north across the block, if you want to call it that, across the 95 highway as it's numbered here, further up this way north, you got the library, which you see there. It's like a 3D model, that's why it's not the clearest. You got the canopies, different colours in the background, which is the same photo and matches up with what was on the Facebook page. So near here. So if she was within this area, was she just passing by, or did she actually walk into the library? I wonder. If there's anyone who knows Christine Parker, was Christine known to read books? Did she enjoy reading books? If she did, maybe that's why she went to the library. Now, does Christine have a library card or anything like that? I wonder. I don't know how it works in the US. So that's what the library looks like. We can do street level shortly. It's right on like a main road, as you can see, and then opposite adjacent, you do have like buildings there. I don't know if they're like flats or something, but we'll take a closer look to get a better visual idea. Near to Sunrise Senior Village. Okay, so like retiree place. A few more houses or something back here. Okay. Just with it being close to Rafael Rivera Park, could you create maybe a radius within this area in Las Vegas? I said I can't do a circle on Google Earth because it won't allow me, but I did like a rectangle. Hopefully you can see it highlighted. And in terms of distance, roughly speaking, obviously you would have to go down like certain roads to get from one point to another, but just like very rough, it's under a mile, right? Maybe a mile or under, right? It's not that far. Yeah, it's not that far. So let's take a look at this area, the sighting of Christine, and just see what it looks like visually on the ground level. As I said, you saw on the Facebook post that one person did come to the area to have a look about and saw the missing person flyer at the library. I'm not sure if it was on the outside or inside, but, it does help spread awareness. And, with libraries having aircon, most likely, and if the area is pretty hot, people will probably gather in those type of places. And then as you see the posters, more people present, the more people aware of it. The building itself is pretty big, right? Yeah. What's mentioned there? Comidas calientes y saludables gratis. Oh, it's Spanish, whatever that is. What's this? Get carded with a new library card. So, what does that say? Biblioteca. Biblioteca, Spanish and Espanol for library. Okay. So, would Christine have a library card with her? Did she get one when in the area? Or do you need additional details to be able to get one? Would you have to pay for it? Because if she had to pay for it, then what does she do for money if she doesn't have a card? Just get round here. Anything round the back? It looks like there's a play area, car parking back there. That's pretty much it. But I just wanted to show you the area, what it looks like. There you go, you got the street itself. Bonanza Road, 2,800. Is this area specifically a dangerous place? I mean, it's kind of ironic saying that when on here you just so happen to have a police car with cones and like a sheriff. Don't know what's going on here. What are these police cars doing though? Not quite sure, to be honest. Wonder why they're across the road. Maybe there was an accident at a different point, possibly. Move on down that way. Hard to tell. What's that? A little dog. Right. So is there many cameras in the area? Well, likely. I mean, I'd assume that the library has CCTV footage. So if there was a reported sighting that Christine was seen near to the library, whether she was entering, exiting, or just walking by, why not maybe check the CCTV or ask them, the library, to check the CCTV footage? Because if general public weren't able to take a photo at the time, maybe the cameras would tell a different story. But is there any cameras? I mean, can I see any? Well, not from this angle. Is this the entrance or the back of the library? Looks like it could be the back. Can't see any cameras, that's unfortunate, unless they're on the other side. Well, I'm sure there's got to be CCTV somewhere, right? Yeah, maybe one of those buildings up there. If only it could highlight, show Christine walking by or something to confirm it was her. If people aren't able to take photos of her because they're not ready, prepared, or expecting, maybe the services within the area, the cameras, the surveillance, maybe they can check that way round. I don't know, I'm just thinking of the Dylan Rounds case, the family getting in contact with the FBI, who then got a hold of CCTV footage at the Flying J's, Snowville, to find a certain somebody at the time regarded linked to the case. And it was a success there for an alibi, so I don't know if it could apply here. But then, the way it was worded online with the way the police, they can only do so much with the situation, so maybe things might be somewhat limited. Anyway, that's the sighting there. Interesting pattern in terms of the distance, proximity from one another. Multiple sightings in Las Vegas makes it a bit more realistic or reinforced. Is she still there now? Don't know. So, oh yeah, I need to type in Salvation Army, don't I? Right, so I don't know why one of the markers is down there. Maybe it was accidentally placed. Weird how it's only coming up with one. But at least from when I typed it in at the time, okay, it came up with Salvation Army and it had different versions. Like down here, you got Salvation Army donation store, supposedly, and it is near to Craig Ranch Regional Park. Am I able to get to ground level? Looks like I can. Is it actually named? Poke Express Seafood, Nail Spa, Polar Cleaners, Family Store, Salvation Army. Well, there we go. Suppose like some like donation place where I guess what you donate food or something. Salvation Army Family Store Donation Centre. It looks like the door's there. Pretty, big size of it. Can we get a bit closer? Don't know why there's mannequins in there. Is this like a Goodwill's or something? I don't know. Salvation Army Family Store. So is one a store where clothes are donated, people can come and buy them, and then the money raised goes towards the Salvation Army or, the services? And then by the sides of it, you've got a donation centre where you go in and give whatever, like a charity shop. Is that it? And then the stuff that's collected in that building gets put into that store in which people can buy stuff. Maybe. I think that's probably how it works. But it seems to be clothing, though. Yeah, mainly clothing. Wasn't this worded as food or something? Donation food. And then maybe that's another place I was looking at earlier on the maps. So, would someone like Christine go to a place like this? What, for new clothes? To change her clothes? Is that possible? Would Christine be visiting maybe some of the gas stations or truck stops in certain areas to use the showers to have a wash on the spot, possibly? Any thoughts there? Let me know down below. I mean, a place like this, with it being surrounded by parking spaces and multiple different stores, it's going to have cameras, surveillance, just like up there in the corner. There'll be a camera pointing down, and most likely here too. I think that's another one. That ballpoint CCTV on the side of the wall. Yeah, so it would be able to document movement and people within the area at the time. So that was at least one. Donation store. More for clothing. Would Christine be in need of more clothing? I wonder. Then lower down, we got the Salvation Army Rehabilitation Unit for adults. Would Christine be going there? Probably not. I'm just thinking of medication not, using correctly because of not being in possession of it. But normally you'd go to a rehabilitation place when things have gotten out of hand, out of control. I mean, it says rehabilitation, but what does that mean? Does it mean for alcohol, for substance use, or is it both? I'm not quite sure. Now, with Christine, it's not so much taking stuff that's the problem. It's not taking what's needed, the medication. So I don't think you would go to a rehabilitation place. Or she tried calling in. Do you think there's a possibility that Christine could have called in at a pharmacy or tried getting a hold of some kind of medication because she knows she needs it and she'll try and do whatever it takes to get hold of it? Is that ever a possibility? Would it ever cross her mind or not? Just want to know your thoughts down below. Just think of different ideas, right? Seems to be the highway just over there on the other side. So that's what that looks like. Make sure we're facing north. That Salvation Army down there, which originally came up, I think that's actually a fake marker. Let's double check. Sometimes fake markers come up on Google Earth, right? It's annoying. It happens. Yeah, that looks more like a house. So scrap that one. Scrap the marker. I'll get rid of that some other time. So really, the one that came up, was it Owens Avenue or something? Was this main one here? Food distribution. Try and get on it now if possible, or within the area. Right, so we're on a main road. What does that say? Is that Salvation Army? Yeah, it could be. Ah, okay. So in a way, this is like a good example, right, of, homelessness within the area. That guy doesn't have multiple legs like a centipede. It's just because Google Earth glitches out at times, so you get double vision, okay? But you get the idea, right? The homelessness factor, how, yeah, the homeless people can kind of like help each other out, cover for one another. Maybe it's kind of tight knit. You got to be on the inside to know who is who. If you're just a stranger passing on by, they could show a bit of resistance maybe because they're protective of their own. I guess that's kind of understandable. You might get good homeless people, and you get some rough homeless people, opportunistic ones. So if like I said, if you're in a vehicle, best not keep it nearby, or it could get, I don't know, stolen or damaged in some way. And the time of the day as well plays a main factor. Are they hanging out around here because it's next to that place? It must be. So it's a soup kitchen or something, dining facility, Salvation Army, so food can be distributed. It's a fair size. I guess that must be the entrance up there. And I guess the homeless people kind of like just hang out within the area because it's nearby, so then they can get the food and just eat it and then sit back and wait again. I mean, there is CCTV surveillance up there, as you can see, 2 lots near to the entrance or the back of it. So if Christine's supposedly spotted around this area, that CCTV probably would have picked her up, right? So is it worth checking that surveillance? Anything else down here? I mean, there seems to be quite a few homeless people in this area. Is that just because it's next to the Salvation Army? What's this? Transitional housing complex. I can't quite see the sign. What's that all about? No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, no peddling. So another Salvation building. Is that... Yeah, that'll be linked onto that over there. Is this all to do with like a living accommodation? Housing. Is there any more homeless people down there? Is that a bird in the sky? Where's the bird gone? I swear I thought I saw a bird. Those cables look a bit loose. There it is. That's the bird. I wondered what it was in mid-flight. Oh, and there's the other bird as well. Right, so it looks like this area seems to be a stretch, like a stretch where the homeless people are gathered at. A few more there. Yeah, okay. So you don't want to be hanging around this area because it could get a bit messy. Oh, there's a person over there with no top on or something. What does that sign say? No, it's faded, unfortunately, but, I don't know, it kind of makes sense if Christine is within this area because I don't know, whether she needs accommodation or she needs food to be able to keep on going. More people hanging out in the area. Quite a few of them. I mean, the only positive is there's CCTV surveillance, so that could play a role. It depends how fast people act. What I want to do is try and, get onto the bridge or something. Oh, you got train tracks there. Okay. So it's not possible. Can we get round the back, though? No, it doesn't allow it, does it? Okay, fair enough. So it's within this area, roughly speaking. Which, in terms of distance, roughly, very rough. About 2 miles, 3 miles, maybe a bit more. 4 miles. Within the area. Is it within walking distance? I mean, maybe. But it depends. Does Christine have the energy to be moving around constantly? Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Whether it be the side effects or just simply the food, water intake. I don't know, maybe could be a limiting factor. Was there anything else I wanted to look at? I don't know. I mean, is there a possibility that she could end up walking and wandering off into the desert area? Approaching like Arizona in the distance. Was there anything mentioned on Facebook about Arizona or something? Reaching out to people over there with flyers. I mean, can anyone predict or forecast maybe her next movement anywhere? Maybe it's hard to say, right? Because it could be anywhere. I just wanted to present to you Las Vegas and like a street level of these key locations. It seems like as time goes on in the short term, it seems that Las Vegas and the surrounding area, as marked here, is kind of a hot spot for someone like Christine to be hanging around. And, you know, if you got the homeless community that look out for one another in a way, and for some reason Christine is able to get on well with them, then maybe she's more likely to stay within the area. I mean, I think what I should do is I'll just share with you my thoughts now in general, right? So maybe the factor of having a place of belonging can determine where Christine Parker goes next, right? If you revert back to Battle Mountain, Nevada, what was it, 6th of August or so at that time, 2023. A call was made on the day before booking into that motel about being here, not knowing why she was in Battle Mountain, and shortly afterwards checking into a motel, or at least attempting to, card being declined, not successful, not having a place to stay at, not having any accommodation at that moment in time. Did that like almost form of rejection make her panic, push her away? So then she ended up just going somewhere completely different? Maybe. Being in Las Vegas, Nevada, with these like Salvation Army buildings and support centers, whatever, they can distribute food to. There's also a community, although homeless, looking after one another in some way. Could Christine feel more welcomed there and less rejected? So she's less likely to panic and more likely to settle down within the area. Although not ideal, of course, if there is a factor, some way or another, that can, contain her, keep her in an area for as long as possible, then it should make it easier when trying to search for her, right? Because the worst case scenario would be she panics constantly and moves from city to city, from state to state. It's like an endless chase. But if you can locate her, mark the area down, concentrate in a certain spot, or at least just a certain city, it can make it easier, right? And if there's factors in that location which would make her feel maybe a little bit more safe at that moment in time, then she's more likely to stick around. And the longer she's around for, maybe the more chances are that someone will find her, see her, possibly. But then the only negative would be is if you do manage to track her down in a precise area, and it just happens to be with the community of the homeless people, how do you make contact with her without the homeless people getting defensive, protective, without Christine, I don't know, maybe reacting in an unexpected way, right? How do you make contact with the homeless people for the best case scenario and to prevent any issues? Do you bribe the homeless people? Do you say, oh, do you have any information on Christine? Here's some food, or here's something like that? Or can you let us have access to where Christine is staying at if there's a homeless camp? I don't know. Something along the lines. One thing for certain, regardless, there are many different roadblocks and factors within this case which could prevent her from going from here to there, or could encourage her to move away, depending on the situation and the timing. Is it a race against time? Kind of, but I guess that applies to any missing person case out there. You want to get it over and done with and solved as soon as possible. As for the coverage on the case, at least on the Facebook side, it does seem fairly organised, and there's a lot of action over there and a lot of physical boots on ground action taking place, which is good. As for the online part on maybe certain platforms, it could be lacking maybe on the YouTube side, so there's no harm in doing these videos right. When looking back now, the very first video I did on this case, it's got over 1,000 views. So that's very good. Over 1,000 people have been informed about the missing person case, Christine Parker. So that's positive. As my other videos about the case, not done too well. Hopefully this one continues to spread awareness. You know, if there's anyone watching right here, right now, or watching in the background, feel free to like and share the video. It'll help spread awareness on the case and the video too, so then people can see it easier and from further afar. Okay. Are we at a point where theories and ideas are worthwhile talking about? I guess so. I don't know how certain people think or feel about, you know, certain theories or ideas, because not all of them will be positive, right? Some people may think of long-term factors. Some people may think ahead of time, worst case scenario. Obviously, it's not a good thing that, but some people may be trying to be as realistic as possible, possibly. I mean, I briefly touched upon it, like with the highway situation. You know, if you're going to be hitchhiking, that can be a danger in itself. You could unintentionally, although being a missing person at the time, end up being kidnapped by someone. But does that seem to be the case right now? Well, with these multiple sightings in Las Vegas, if it is 100% true, you could at least argue and say, including recent time, that from the 6th of August up to now, maybe Christine was successful in hitchhiking, being able to get from down there to Las Vegas. Fair bit of distance covered, but done successfully. What wasn't a success? Maybe the dog situation. You think about it, reported sightings within the area of Las Vegas, no dogs seen. More so the Rafael Riviera Park, no dogs seen there. If that really was the case, could Christine have lost her dogs in Las Vegas, or would it have been back at Eugene Mountain, Nevada when hitchhiking? I wonder exactly where they were lost. Is there a possibility that, and I'm not quite sure, do homeless people in Las Vegas, Nevada have dogs of their own? If they do, then maybe Christine could have had her dogs hanging around a certain homeless area community whilst she's gone out on a walk or something, or to get a hold of something. I don't know. Did they look after the dogs, the homeless people? Did they have dogs in the first place, or did they just run loose? I don't know, but you know, of course, if there's people watching, you can fill in the blanks if you wish to. If you do have any additional updates, you can list it down below in the comment section, along with questions, and I'm sure there'll be an answer at some point, right? Last but not least, shout out to Susan Veach, recent time and previous videos spreading awareness of this case of Christine Parker. Susan, being an individual sister-in-law to Kenny Veach missing male back in 2014, originates from Las Vegas, Nevada, right? So there's that link there. Susan Veach, although questioned and, I don't know what you'd call it, just questioned over and over by certain people out there, Susan is taking this serious, which is all good, and that's just all good. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, shout out to Susan Veach for spreading awareness on this case and letting some other people out there who are within the case tied to it, spreading awareness of my channel, covering it on this platform. So, so far, at least from the community aspect, whether it be in real life or online, it seems okay, which is what you want. Not seeing really any tension or friction, so that's fine. As for the aspect of people going out searching, I guess just levels of awareness of what's around you and your own safety, as it was worded on Facebook, more so in the Las Vegas area. So if there is anyone watching right now from the Las Vegas area, you're probably more than aware of it anyway. But if you just happen to try searching for Christine, just be aware of the areas where the homelessness are, right? The homeless people, just in case there's any resistance or if anything backfires negatively, okay? So I think with that all being said, that's it for now, right? If there are any more updates in the future, I'll let you know. Any more sightings, I'll just simply add it to that project I've got on Google Earth and just go from there. It's probably better to have it all in one place, right? Were the sightings dated? I don't think so. Maybe it's probably worth asking that question down below, or if anyone can answer it right now, even if we just have to look back or something, just to keep track. I mean, the only thing is there any point in dating these sightings if the sightings are still not quite confirmed? Is it worthwhile? Maybe there's a level of consistency established, like how there is in Las Vegas, multiple sightings now. They can be dated, then you get an idea of how long she may have been there for and there since. And is she still there? I don't know, something like that maybe could prove useful. Besides obviously taking photos, but dating it as well would be useful. So you want to fill in any blanks, any additional information, answer any questions down below. You want to check out previous videos on my channel, feel free to do so. Some links are available in the pinned comment section. Hopefully you learned something new, found the case interesting. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye and good night for now.